So, how to spot a lemon, or is my trust a good one? This video is designed for you if you are somebody who already has a trust, and if you're having a few doubts or questions about whether you've got a good trust or not. And it's also for you if you are in the process of setting something up, because if you end up with something that's breaking any of these rules, it's a good reason to start asking some questions. Of course, with trusts, many things are jurisdiction specific, so it depends very much on the country that you live in and the legal system that you are part of. But on the other hand, there are some, let's say, more general rules and thoughts that can apply internationally, and that's what I'm going to focus on in this video. I'm going to ask 5 questions, and depending on the answer to these 5 questions for your trust, it will give you, I think, a pretty strong feeling as to whether you have got a good trust or not. Question 1, who made it? So I like to start here with the analogy of brain surgery. So let's imagine that you are getting some brain surgery done on yourself for some reason, and you have the opportunity to choose who should do that. And so, of course, you're going to try to choose the very, very best person. You're probably going to take some time thinking about how to do that. What's interesting to me is that things like trust, people tend to go about things a little bit differently. They tend to focus on the cost, which is important, but they lose track of some of the more important things. For example, in the case of brain surgery, I probably wouldn't get it done by a mechanic. I probably wouldn't get it done by my cousin Bob. I would want to have it done by a doctor. In the case of a trust, you want to have your trust done by a lawyer. There are some exceptions to that. In a few cases, you can find dedicated trust professionals who have the experience and background to be able to help. But people who are not lawyers or don't have the legal background are unlikely to be making a good trust for you, just as your mechanic is unlikely to do a good job of your brain surgery. Second part of this question is, was it made for you by a lawyer? Very often, and I think it ties in with the next question, was it tailor-made for you by a lawyer? So very often we see people, and I have to say I've seen a lot of trusts made by other people. People come in and bring them to me and say, James, what do you think of this? And one of the most common problems is where somebody has used some kind of template and they have filled in some names and addresses and pushed print on the printer and said, here we go, that's a trust. And it's probably not very good because it's not customized, it's not tailor-made, it's not specific for you and for your needs. In my life, I have created literally hundreds of trusts, and I can say that no 2 trusts have ever been exactly the same. Some of them have been very similar, but exactly the same, no. So you're looking for something that has been created for you, specifically for your needs. You would have spent quite a long time talking to the person who created it, to the lawyer, so that the lawyer could understand what your needs are, and he or she will have made a document specifically for you. Some clues to help you recognize this is if you look at the document and you see things like the founder, and then it goes on to say he/she. You are probably only one of those things, so it should be customized for whichever one of those things you are. You'll also find in templates things that are not relevant to your situation. That actually is not so bad, because what I like to do when I create a trust is I create, if you like, the Tesla of trusts. So Tesla, for example, they say to you, heated seats in the front. It's an option. You have to pay more for that. But what Tesla actually does is they put the seat heating equipment in all the seats. Just for some of them, they have it turned on, and some of them they don't. And trusts are exactly the same, with the difference that it doesn't cost any money to add the heating to the seats. So a lot of good trusts will contain a lot of provisions, a lot of possibilities, a lot of rules that relate to things that are actually not necessarily relevant to you, or at least not relevant to you today. But what they do is they create the possibility in the future for you to just turn those functions on should you need them. If you do not have the seat heating in the seat in the first place, it's much harder to suddenly decide that you want seat heating. So irrelevant things in your documents, not necessarily a problem, but you get a feeling of, was this really made for me, or is it some mass-produced template? If you're getting the later feeling, then it's not an encouraging sign. Okay, next part of the question. Was it made for you by a lawyer? Was it made for you by a trust lawyer? A doctor is a good person to perform brain surgery, but actually, on second thoughts, maybe not my general practitioner. What I really want is somebody who is a specialist in doing brain surgery, because they will be more familiar with that topic. A lot of trusts are done by family lawyers. That's probably not dreadful, but it is always better, and especially if you are talking about something that is very, very important to you, to deal with somebody who is a specialist trust lawyer. A specialist trust lawyer who has experience. So, for example, I can say to you, I'm a trust lawyer, and today, Mrs. Client, you're going to be my first trust. Likewise, if the brain surgeon says, I'm a brain surgeon, I'm fully qualified as a brain surgeon, and I'm really pleased today that you're going to be my first brain surgery. Okay, not very experienced. What you're looking for is you're looking for somebody who has a lot of experience, and then that gives you the encouragement and confidence that you need. I mention here STEP, which is the Society for Trust and Estate Practitioners. That's a worldwide organization that, if you like, marks professionals in the trust industry. They bear the designation TEP at the end of their name, and that is a very strong signal to you that the person in question is actually experienced. There are other people who are experienced as well, who are not TEPs, but TEP is a good sign, and that's the kind of thing that you need to be thinking about and looking for, because like a brain surgeon, somebody who knows what they are doing, who's done it many times before, is going to do a better job than somebody who does not. Okay, question 2. I was a bit hesitant to put this here because it really depends on many things. But question 2 is, how many pages did you get? Making trusts is not simple, and even the simplest of trusts is not simple. And in my opinion, it's very difficult to make a great trust in less than about 10 pages of A4. You can have many, many more pages. Sometimes you can have too many more pages. But if you've only got 3 or 4 pages, I feel like you probably haven't got a sufficiently robust structure. The good news is that in most jurisdictions, in most countries, that's fine. You can say, this is not quite right, and there's still the opportunity for you to adjust that or fix that. But it's better to do that first before the problems come along than later afterwards. So that's question 2. Like I say, that's a very general question, so sometimes you can write a great trust in a smaller number of pages, but it's an indicator. Question 3. Are there too many familiar faces? So, most of the time, not always, but a lot of the time when you create a trust, the objective is to protect. It is to protect you or your family assets from external attack. Other reasons for doing it are business succession, so passing your business or family wealth to the next generation, and inheritance issues, but protection is usually pretty important. What I'm showing you here is a slide from lesson 2 of my course, which shows the structure of a typical discretionary family trust, or also discretionary family foundation. And that model that we can see here is proven, it works, it's a good structure. But let's look at a little different approach. Let's say that my name is Gordon, and I am a wheeler-dealer property developer, and I want to protect my assets against my potential future bankruptcy. So I'm worried, for example, that, let's say I'm a property developer, I'm worried that the property market will be cyclical, and even though things are going very well, and I have this, as you can see here, I have this fantastic Bentley now. I'm worried that if this property market moves in cycles, things could go wrong and I could be vulnerable to attack. So I create a trust to protect myself. So, there I go. I create a trust. And as you can see, I have put my Bentley, in this case, into the trust. Now, because I am like a lot of people, I'm maybe a little bit nervous or a bit uncomfortable with this trust concept. I'm not really sure how it works. I'm worried that somebody may take control of my assets. So what I'm going to do to prevent that problem from arising is I'm going to make myself, not just the founder or grantor or settlor, I'm going to make myself also the trustee of the trust. And that way I'm completely in control of everything that happens in the trust. It's nice and reassuring feeling. The beneficiary of this trust is also going to be me. Okay, so I am the founder, grantor, settlor, I am the trustee, I am the beneficiary, I am in all 3 places. And actually I'm also, the documents say, I'm also the authorized user of the Bentley. So I'm here also driving the car. And just to go one step further, I will maybe give myself the power of appointment of the trustee, so that if some other future trustee does not cooperate with me, I can get rid of that person. I will make myself also the protector of the trust, and I will make this trust revocable. And then I go bankrupt. And my creditor goes to court and asks the judge, please give me that Bentley. And what is the judge going to do? He's going to take one look at this and say, Gordon, you made a trust, but it's not a very good trust. It's not really a trust at all, actually, because you are in all of those places, and it's pretty clear to me that that Bentley is still yours. It's yours in every way. So the trust structure, in this case, simply does not work. And for you, if asset protection is important, for you, something like this is not good. And so ask the question, are there too many familiar faces? People who are here in this role here, or here. People who are here in this role here, and so on. A little bit of that is okay. If you see too much of that, it indicates that you probably do not have a robust structure. And so now we come to question 4. Question 4 relates back to lesson 6 of this course, and the question is very simple: is there a letter of wishes? Now it may be, and many people will say to me, what is a letter of wishes? Okay, if you don't know what it is, if you don't have one, it's not a very good sign. I don't want to go into too much detail of that, but for most trusts, there should be a letter of wishes. It's quite an important tool for the trustee to be able to know how to deal with the trust in the future. If it's not there, that's usually a little bit problematic. Question 5, and this is especially the case in relation to trusts that are already existing. And the question is, who's running the show? So if your goal is asset protection, then you want your trust to be strong, to be robust, to be strong against attack from the outside. And one of the things that people from the outside will do, your creditors or whoever it may be, is they will be trying to show, as they were trying in the case of Gordon earlier, they'll be trying to show that this trust is not real. And one of the ways they can show that is by showing that the grantor, founder, settlor, that person is actually still calling the shots, is still managing the trust, is still making all the decisions, is still buying and selling the things, whereas in fact it should not be that person who's doing these things, it should be the trustees. Sometimes there's a little dance. The little dance would be that the founder maybe gives the trustees a call and says, oh, I think it would be a good idea if you did X. And then the trustees go, let me consider this. I have decided that I think it would be a good idea for us to do X. That's okay. What's important is it has to be the trustees who are making the decisions, and it has to be the trustees who are also properly recording those decisions. There should be a nice book, paper trail showing that the trust is being properly run and properly managed. A lot of trusts are not, and if they are not being run and managed properly in that way, they are probably not going to achieve the goals that they were set up for. If you have a trust and you ask these 5 questions and you get some concerning or worrying answers, then I would strongly encourage you to find one of those independent, experienced trust experts and go and have a quick consultation with them, and they will be able to look at what you've got and say, yeah, it's okay, or not. And if not, then the fees that you will pay will be nothing compared to the potential loss that you will experience if you do not deal with these issues. One other thing that's quite important in terms of making a trust good, it's not really a thing you can do anything about, but it's something that's very important, is time. A trust is like a good bottle of wine. The longer you keep it, the better that it gets. So to take a very simple example, if I create a trust today to protect my assets against, let's say, bankruptcy or divorce, something like this, and then I go bankrupt tomorrow, then the trust is not going to work. But if I set up the trust today against these things, I set up the trust when the sun is shining. If I do that, and then sometime in the future, for example, 10 years from now, bad things happen and the trust becomes necessary or important, then the trust has a much, much higher likelihood of working. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you found that useful and helpful. If you'd like to see more of this, please like the video and please subscribe using the button that you can see just there. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and thanks again for watching.